Let's talk about that a little bit more because all of last year, you and I were talking about how voters felt, for the most part, that Trump was better equipped at handling the economy than Joe Biden and then Vice President Kamala Harris. And he won in large part because voters thought that an economy under Trump is better than a Biden or Harris economy. How do voters feel about the economy now, this far into President Trump's second term? And do you think the dust has really settled on that yet?
Well, it hasn't, and I'm going to give you some remarkable statistics for our viewers as well. So, 56% of Americans, including close to 3 in 10 Republicans, think that the economy is currently shrinking. That's an incredible statistic, especially compared to the fact that in the second quarter, the economy grew by 3.8%. When we ask people specifically, where do they think the economy is, right? 36% say that it's shrinking, it's declining. 14% say 1% growth. 2%, 18% say 2% growth. 80% say 3% growth. Only 6% say 4% growth, which is really where the economy was in the second quarter. So there's definitely a problem in terms of um, communicating where the economy is and helping people understand that despite all of the churn and tumult and shifting policies, the economy is actually doing better than they think. And then also in terms of the question, do you think inflation is above or below 3% a year right now, which is really that benchmark that the Fed tries to keep inflation below? Two-thirds of Americans, 65%, think that inflation is above 3% rather than below 3%, where it actually is. And that includes 62% of Republicans. So it's safe to say that the administration has its work cut out when it comes to communicating around the economy. And there's no surprise then that when you ask, do you think Trump's policies are boosting or harming the economy? 58% actually say today that they're harming the economy. And this is a negative trend on this particular question where voters usually have been split roughly 50-50 on whether or not Trump's set of policies are harming or boosting the economy. So the economy again remains the top issue, and the art of the deal or the art of the sale in this case, as we're leading into the midterm, will be on whether or not the administration of President Trump is able to reverse perceptions around the economy so that they track more with reality than with the sour mood, economic mood that voters generally have today.
I'm curious why you think this is, because this was a problem that plagued President Biden and then ultimately the Harris campaign. The numbers on the economy at the last bit of Biden's presidency weren't as bad as people thought they were. Is it because people's financial situations, they don't feel that great about them? A, and B, I mean, which party can do a better job at messaging, or have both parties for the past year or so not been doing great on offense, but have been doing a better job on defense?
Well, both parties haven't done a good job on communicating around the economy. The Republicans, by and large, still have the edge in terms of who Americans trust to handle the economy more. So it's 52% Trump and the Republicans, and 48% the Democrats. But again, when it comes to the I word, the inflation word, right? 56% think that Trump is losing the battle against inflation. And again, if there's one reason why voters broke against Biden and against the Democrats, it's because they felt that they weren't dealing with the most important issue that they should have been dealing with, which was the economy. And because they didn't really think that Kamala Harris had much of a platform or a plan for getting the economy back on track. And they were much more willing to go with Trump and his past track record than with the Democrats and their lack of an approach around the economy. So when you see a statistic like that, 56% thinking that Trump is losing the battle against inflation, that should be raising alarm bells within the White House. And I know that the White House has noticed this poll because they published it when it came to the question of the government shutdown, which I'm sure we'll get to in a second. But again, when we look at the atmospherics of the poll, right, and there's a lot of issues and a lot of ways to look at the different issues. There's a lot of things here to like for the administration, but there are some clear warning signals. And the biggest of those warning signals is it's the economy, stupid. You better start focusing on it.